I hope you're ready for another episode where we present the ultimate guide to becoming a relaxed billionaire. Let's cut to the chase. Who wouldn't want a ton of money? I mean, millions and billions of dollars? You could use it to ride on beaches or drive fancy cars down the streets of California. Money is just so darn beautiful. It can turn your life around and make you feel like $1,000,000. Of course, I don't mean to say you're broke. But let's face it, we're all dirt poor here. Just look at the 2016 Oxford Foundation report. It shows that 26 people had more money than half the planet. Can you believe it? Those 26 people own more than 3.8 billion others combined. But let's not forget the other billionaires out there. They're only less than 1% of the population, but they still manage to accumulate all that wealth somehow. We're dying to know their secret, so we can be filthy rich too. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the ancient times of 1987. Back then, the world had a measly 140 billionaires. But fast forward to 2019, and we have a whopping 2,153 billionaires worth an insane $8.7 trillion. That's enough to buy your own planet or a solid gold jet plane. But let's not forget about the middle class. What do they feel about all this? Probably just jealous. Let's be real. If we look even further back, we'll find the original gangster billionaires like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. These guys were worth so much money that they probably used it to wipe their bums. According to MyMoney.com, Carnegie is worth a jaw-dropping $372 billion today. And Rockefeller? He's worth around the richest person now, with an estimated wealth of $141 billion. These guys were ballers before balling was even a thing. Carnegie's company provided iron and steel to many sectors in America, including the first railroad network connecting all states. Meanwhile, Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company monopolized almost 90% of the petroleum market until the government finally had to step in and break it up into 34 smaller companies. Talk about greed, am I right? But at least they were able to invent cars and electricity. Imagine living in a world without those things. It would be like living in the Stone Age. Let me tell you about the coolest billionaire ever, Andrew Carnegie. This dude was so rich, he could buy all the bridges and drilling rigs he wanted. But get this, he actually donated most of his money to build universities and fund scientific research. What a guy. There's even a university named after him, Carnegie University, and a fancy music hall called Carnegie Hall. This guy knew how to make it rain money, that is. Back in the day, you needed a big pile of cash to start a mega business like Carnegie's. But nowadays, with all the fancy tech and production methods, you can make billions without a ton of money to start with. And who's getting rich now? Countries like China and India, with their super skilled business people, make money. There's even a dude in India called Ambani, who's so rich he's practically swimming in money. Wow, another billionaire who made his fortune in the tech industry. How impressive. We really don't need to talk about American billionaires, because they're just so boring, right? I mean, who wants to hear about Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg? They're just little guys who made their billions creating groundbreaking technologies that have transformed the world as we know it. Let's talk about Andrew Carnegie instead, a guy who lived over 100 years ago and wouldn't even know what a computer is, let alone who Zuckerberg is. And let's not forget that Zuckerberg just created Facebook, one of the most popular and influential websites in the world, by accident. Anyone could do it with some cheap computer programming, right? It's so easy to become a billionaire these days. All you need is a little bit of capital, a few technological advancements, and a willingness to exploit cheap labor markets in developing countries. Zara and Nike are just a few examples of companies that are taking advantage of this. Who needs human labor when you can replace it with machines and robots? In the end, it's all about increasing profits for these companies and their owners. So, let's all applaud this man, Ambani, for his incredible achievement of becoming the richest man in Asia, and let's not forget how easy it is to make billions in today's world. Who would have thought that the issue of companies is so complicated and requires a lot of work? It's not like anyone could have guessed that. And thank you for telling us that in order to have a lot of money, we can either inherit it from someone close to us who is already wealthy, because that's such an easy and accessible option, or have capital or assets. Who knew that capital didn't necessarily mean money? It's not like anyone ever thought of patents, stocks, or education as potential forms of capital before. And let's not forget about the power of relationships and charisma as social capital, because we all know that's just as easy to come by as $1 billion inheritance. Thank you for blessing us with your wisdom. Kylie Jenner has truly figured out the secret to success. Just use your looks and popularity to sell your own products on Instagram. I mean, why bother with talent or hard work when you can just be born into a famous family? And Michael Jordan, what a loser. Sure, he may have revolutionized the game of basketball and become a global icon, but can he sell lip kits like Kylie? I think not. As for me, I can't wait to exploit my own good looks to the fullest extent possible. I mean, why bother with substance when you can just coast on your appearance? And forget about making a real impact in the world. I just want to hang out with my billionaire friends and bask in their wealth and privilege. Because let's be real, who cares about making a difference when you can just admire your rich pals' extravagant lifestyles from afar? Speaking of which, I just love following my wealthy friends' news on social media. It's so fascinating to see how they spend their billions on philanthropic projects and charity work. I mean, sure, they could use their immense wealth to actually address systemic issues and make a real difference in the world. But donating a few billion to a charity foundation is just as good, right? At least they'll get a tax write-off out of it. Because who wouldn't want to be at the mercy of billionaires? It's not like they could decide to stop funding community projects and ruin people's lives. But no need to panic, right? The solution to this complex problem is simple. Just make sure those greedy billionaires pay their fair share of taxes. Except some of them are just too darn clever and use tax havens like the Cayman Islands, Panama, and Luxembourg to avoid paying taxes in their own countries. Because who wouldn't want to stash their money in a tropical paradise? And don't even get me started on the taxes they have to pay on their fancy artwork and real estate. This has been the status quo since forever, until 2016, of course. An anonymous whistleblower leaked some highly confidential information about a law firm's secret driver who has been managing offshore bank accounts for public and political figures to help them evade taxes in Panama and the British Virgin Islands. Wow, isn't that amazing? If you've got some extra cash lying around, why not put it there and pretend you're from Panama? It's like a fun little game of tax evasion. And don't worry, there are other countries like Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Luxembourg to help you out. As your helpful assistant, I must say that if you want to avoid taxes, just go there. And if you're worried about my cut, don't be. I'll only take a measly 30%. That's chump change, right? Now let's get to the juicy stuff. The secret driver has exposed some real big shots who have been hiding their money, like golfer and Pakistani politician Nawaz Sharif, actor Jackie Chan, and even Queen Elizabeth herself. Can you believe it? Is the Queen trying to evade taxes? And even football star Lionel Messi is in on the game. A lazy guy doesn't want to pay his taxes in Spain. As time goes by, this whole situation is getting messier and messier. But who cares about that? The money in these offshore accounts is estimated to be a mere $7 to $10 trillion. What a small amount, right? And that's just what they were able to calculate. Who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered? The economic policies implemented in the 1980s in Britain and America were supposed to be the magic bullet to boost investment, production, and living standards. Shockingly, it didn't quite work out that way. In fact, things went downhill pretty quickly after World War II, with more and more people stuck in poverty and even the middle class struggling to get by. Who would have thought that cutting taxes and enforcing austerity would lead to such fantastic outcomes? And then all these countries started having financial scandals when the wealth gap between the ultra-rich and everyone else started growing. Apparently, having billionaires squirrel away their money in offshore accounts doesn't do much good for the government or the people. But of course, these poor billionaires just want to increase their billions and avoid pesky government taxes. They've even got this great comeback. I created a company and made a lot of profit. What do you have? Isn't that just the most inspiring sentiment you've ever heard? But don't worry, we're still trying to figure out how to keep these billionaires happy and motivated while also collecting enough taxes to actually do something useful with them. It's a real head-scratcher. And yeah, sure, I might have been a little hard on the billionaires, but money doesn't tempt me. And let's not forget that these business owners are the backbone of the global economy. They're basically heroes for their incredible talents in managing people, creating jobs, and creating important products. Who needs fair taxes and economic equality when we've got billionaires? Dear viewer, today's topic has been so simple. We just talked about how billionaires control our lives. It's not like we have any say in it, but let's not forget, we owe everything to these billionaires, even YouTube. Who cares if it's just a platform for mindless entertainment? And of course, the billionaire overlords have our best interest at heart. They even invited me to join their exclusive club of 2,351 billionaires last year. Bill Gates even gave me a nice friendly pat on the back, or maybe it was more of a chokehold, who knows? But no need to worry. I happily accepted their generous offer to share their wealth and share this video with you.